This story here is from the Telegraph. It's called Winona Ryder Says It Is Impossible to Believe Allegations Against Johnny Depp. Miss Ryder and Vanessa Paradis said they did not recognize the picture of actor painted by his former wife Amber Heard. Johnny Depp's former partners Winona Ryder and Vanessa Paradis have described him as a kind and loving man, saying it was impossible to believe that he was capable of attacking anyone. And of course, this is very consistent with pretty much literally everybody who says something about Johnny's past. Ms. Ryder and Miss Paradis said they did not recognize the description of him as a violent drug and drink-fueled abuser that had been painted by his former wife Amber Heard. And just a quick reminder, the drugs they're talking about are cannabis and ecstasy mostly, which we know doesn't really make you want to abuse anybody. It makes you want to eat Doritos, watch Cartoon Network, sleep till 10, stuff like that. In witness statements released by the High Court as a part of a libel case brought by Mr. Depp against the publisher of the Sun newspaper, Ms. Ryder, 48, even suggested Ms. Heard was not telling the truth. And that's fine, because there's quite a bit of evidence that she is not telling the truth, and we know the 911 call was pretty much faked. I mean, there's so much evidence that points to the fact that the call was not made from where they claim the call was made from. But I digress. Ms. Ryder, who recently starred in Stranger Things and has described Mr. Depp as her first love, stated, "I do not want to call anyone a liar, but from my experience of Johnny, it is impossible to believe that such horrific allegations are true. I find it extremely upsetting knowing him as I do." That kind of rhymed. That was nice. And we've been through this before, but now it's actually being read in court. The idea that he is an incredibly violent person is the furthest thing from the Johnny I knew and loved. I cannot wrap my head around these accusations. He was never violent towards me. He was never abusive at all towards me. He has never been violent or abusive towards anybody I have seen. And once again, we don't actually have anybody who's coming out and saying Johnny was violent towards them. A few defenders of Amber Heard will bring up Kate Moss, but nothing happened between them. There was no evidence there that anything happened except Johnny trashed the hotel room, which is pretty normal for somebody who's a movie star and a rock star. Miss Paradis, the French singer, model and actress who had 2 children with Mr. Depp during a 14-year relationship which ended when he left her for Miss Heard, said, "This is nothing like the true Johnny I have known, and from my personal experience of many years, I can say he was never violent or abusive to me. I have seen that these outrageous statements have been really distressing and also caused damage to his career because unfortunately people have gone on believing these false facts." The dramatic release of the witness statements came on the 8th day of the actor's case against the Scum's publisher, News Group Newspapers, and its executive editor, Dan Wooten, over an article from April 2018 alleging that he was violent towards Miss Heard, 34, before and during their marriage. Maybe a little mistake there in reading. Not sure. Alright, keep going. Both Miss Ryder and Miss Paradis had been due to appear via video link in order to answer questions about their evidence. However, Mr. Depp's lawyers decided not to call them since the case did not rest on whether the actor was violent to other women but only against Miss Heard. Unlike many of Depp's witnesses, neither of the 2 women are understood to be financially dependent on him, although Miss Paradis stays in a house he owns in LA when visiting with their children, which pretty much means nothing. So she stays in a house. Big deal. The court had previously heard Mr. Depp had a Winona Forever tattoo, which he later changed to Wino Forever, and which Miss Heard is alleged to have mocked in light of him failing to give up drink and drugs. I covered that in a video. Yes, she mocked it, and that's pretty lame, obviously. And about him changing it, when you get a tattoo of someone's name, a partner's name, you gotta change it to something. For your next relationship, you can't just leave it the way it is. So he just probably made the change he felt best fit the tattoo or something like that. Apparently, they still have a good relationship. Earlier, Mr. Depp's head of security for 14 years claimed Ms. Heard was violent to him on multiple occasions, with his security team having to protect him from her abusive behavior. Sean Bett told the hearing that Ms. Heard's abuse of her husband became a recurring cycle during their relationship. He said throughout the course of Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard's relationship, Ms. Heard was verbally and physically abusive towards Mr. Depp. On many occasions, I witnessed her shout at Mr. Depp. I was also told by Mr. Depp on multiple occasions that Ms. Heard had physically abused him. If they just called him Johnny, that would have been easier to read. Maybe I'll just call him Johnny. A very common occurrence throughout the relationship would be that Johnny would have me and other members of his security team take him away from Miss Heard due to her behavior. The court was shown a number of photographs taken by Mr. Bett of injuries to Mr. Depp allegedly caused by Miss Heard, including one right here showing a red mark to his cheek taken in March 2015 and another showing a scratch and reddening around his nose taken in December 2015. So yeah, there you have it. I mean, I wasn't sure if they were actually going to testify. They said they might have video link. And when you think about it, I guess there's not so much that they could really answer about what's going on right now, especially for Winona Ryder. I personally think it would have been cool if they did testify. They'd have some good things to say. But ultimately, I think they're just evidence that's compiled in a long list of evidence just to build character that Johnny has never done this in the past, and actually Amber Heard has in 2009. So maybe that's why Johnny's lawyer decided, okay, let's not have them have the full video link testimony. You guys, let me know what you think down below. Doing shoutouts, special thanks, things like that. There's so much of this story I want to cover. Having a terrible work month because of the crisis. I'm now working double to make up for all the time I had off. And it's going very hectically and terribly. So maybe subscribe. You will get videos. If you don't subscribe, I'll be pretty sad, but doing pretty damn good. Almost on 7,000 subs, and I think I was on 6,000 like a week ago. Alright, see you next time.